This is Sarah Squires bringing you behind the headlines in today's edition of WYO Today Newsroom. Today on the show, reporter Austin Beck-Doss sits down with Reed Axhelm, the homegrown Riverton soccer phenom who's gone pro. Here's Austin with the story.
All right, Reed, let's just jump right into it. I don't know a whole lot about your experience in your early years as an athlete, but from what it sounds like, you've been participating in Riverton sports from a young age. Did you grow up in Riverton throughout your childhood, or when did you start participating in sports here in Fremont County?
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Riverton, and then I have a brother that's 2 years older than me, and so when he was in U8, they needed more players, so I played up, and then that was like my first bit of competition soccer, and then ever since then I played all the years throughout Rampage, high school, all 4 years, and then college.
Cool. And your family, how many generations back do you know have the Axhelms been in Fremont County? Is it kind of a long tradition here?
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
There's a long list of Axhelms. I think it's 3 generations.
Oh,
My
wow.
grandpa was the one to come over here in like probably the 1930s or something.
Cool.
Maybe later, like 1950s.
Yeah. And I know your mom is involved in sort of heading up the RREC program these days. So that suggests that the family is, big on recreation and sports. Is that accurate? Was it kind of insisted when you were a kid that you participate in local sports?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up playing all 4 like main sports, like football, basketball, soccer, and baseball. And then kind of throughout my career, they just kind of dwindled down to only playing soccer. But yeah, definitely growing up, you just played every sport you could.
Mm-hmm. And how many siblings did you have?
I just have one brother, older brother.
Nice. And I also had an older brother, and when I was a kid playing sports, he was certainly influential in like how I thought about sports and looking up to him, and he was better and faster and stronger. So that was kind of an inspiration for me to keep playing and to want to be better and sort of having a lead to follow. Was it similar for you, or what was the relationship like sports-wise with the brother?
Definitely. I think it really helped me become a better athlete because my brother is 2 years older than me. So he's always bigger and stronger, like you said. And so made me play like harder so that we would be kind of even, or at least try to be. And so I think that's kind of the advantage of being a younger brother, is that you get to play against harder competition growing up just naturally. And so yeah, definitely me and my brother definitely have the competitiveness, so we were playing sports all day every day, just competing in anything.
Yeah, that's cool. I wonder, while you were saying that, I wonder if there's some sort of trend where like younger siblings tend to have sort of higher outcomes sporting wise because maybe they grew up playing against their older siblings and their friends, which will kind of help to accelerate that progression for the younger sibling.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
Well, cool. So you're playing a bunch of sports as a kid growing up in Riverton. At what point did soccer sort of become what you were most focused on? Did you notice that you had a special affinity for the sport at some point?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot on why I started soccer and why I pursued it. And I honestly don't really know. I was pretty fast as a kid, and so it was fun to score goals, and so I just loved doing that. And then I've always been super fascinated with good footwork on the ball, because I think that's just such a skill. I mean, you have to work at it. Nobody's naturally good at dribbling or doing skill moves, and so I just loved the challenge of learning new stuff, like new skills, taking it to the pitch, and then just trying to use it. And I don't know, just kind of developed a love for the game. The beautiful game. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it happened fairly organically. Like you didn't have someone in your life maybe saying specifically like soccer is the one you have to pursue.
No, definitely not.
It's more self-driven then.
Yeah, my uncle was big in soccer. My cousins were big in soccer, but neither of my parents ever played it. And that was about the only influence would be my uncle and my cousins on the soccer world. And so just kind of naturally became the sport, I guess. I used to sit around and watch Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar clips on YouTube, and I would just super slow their skills down and just go to my front yard and just sit there all day and try to get that whatever skill I saw on that day. And I would just practice it over and over and over. And so throughout the whole year, I was training on my own. And I mean, that really helped develop my skill.
Yeah, cool. And so I've lived in Wyoming for about 4 years now. And as a big soccer fan myself, I've been kind of trying to gauge like this state and our local culture's orientation to the sport. And it definitely does feel to me like soccer, there are a lot of soccer fans in Wyoming, and there are a lot of strong club and high school programs too. Maybe it's not quite as popular in the culture as something like football, but there is I feel like relative to the size of the state, a pretty strong interest and even understanding for the game in some ways. And in other ways, maybe not so much. So I'm curious, like the experience of pursuing soccer as a young person in Wyoming, did it feel to you like that sport was well understood and well supported as a kid to you? Or is it this thing where there are certainly some resources lacking such that young soccer players in Wyoming kind of have to navigate that on their own and lead their own journey more so?
Yeah, soccer has definitely grown since coming back from college and semi-pro. Soccer has definitely grown. Like when I grew up, even when I was in high school, there was no club teams. There was no like Team 307. And so it was literally just high school soccer. And now there's tons of teams. Like we have players on our girls team and Hunter Saltzgaver, they're guest playing all the time, all over. So it's definitely growing, and that's super important because Wyoming is behind in skill. But I will say, since I graduated, the level has got a lot better compared to when I was in high school. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Yeah, so going back to your high school years at Riverton High School, by that point, from what you're telling me about your childhood, it seems like you were quite focused on the game and spending a lot of time developing your skills, and I imagine sort of a standout player on a lot of the teams you were playing on by then. Is that the case, or were you kind of still developing into more of a leader and a committed force on the teams that you were playing on?
Yeah. When my first 2 years of high school soccer, I was definitely developing. You're young and just like you're a 13-year-old boy playing against 18-year-olds. And so I definitely developed. Like when I tell people this, they're always shocked, but I didn't even start until I was a junior.
Wow.
And so I got a couple starts as a sophomore, like 1 or 2 starts as a freshman. And so I rode the bench a lot my first 2 years. And then junior year, that summer in between sophomore and junior year is when I was like, all right, like I gotta step it up. That's when Tristan White, the 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year, graduated. So I was like, well, someone has to step up. And so that's when I really dove into the higher level of trying to get to the higher level of soccer. Was in between sophomore and junior year.
In what position were you playing throughout those years? Did you move around the pitch much throughout your childhood, or did you sort of stick to one role on the team as you moved up the age groups and into high school?
I stuck to center mid, like the 10. I was that pretty much my whole career. And then post high school is when I really hopped around positions, just based on what team I was on and what the team needed. Sure. But high school and youth, I was always just center mid.
Right. So when high school comes to an end, that's always a turning point, I think, for promising athletes who are dedicated to the game. It's a big decision to make when you're like, well, college or whatever's next, I still love this sport and I'm good at it. And, at that age, 17, 18, you could, in many cases, that athlete's still very much developing and has not really reached their peak abilities in the game. And so that decision is big. It's like, should I continue on this journey, or is it time to put my time toward other things? Did you go through that in a way, or were you quite sure that in the next phase of your life you wanted soccer to be a part of it?
I was pretty set on playing college soccer at a young age. Like throughout my whole high school career, I was like, I want to play college. And then I signed before my senior year season. And so just playing my senior year, I was just focused on college really. And yeah, I wanted to play at a high level. the college level, I guess.
Yeah, could you give us a little insight into what that process is like when you're in the later years of high school and you want to go play in college? Like, do you communicate with potential programs? Are you sending emails? Are you sending videos of yourself? Do you like invite people to come and watch you? Like, how does that add to the pressure that you feel on the pitch as well? Like, knowing that your future is kind of at stake with each performance that you're putting out week to week in high school.
Yeah, no. The college process from Riverton, like when I played, it was tough. It still is extremely tough. Wyoming kind of doesn't get that respect. We're a long ways away from a lot of the programs, like a majority of the programs are east or west. And
yeah,
so they're not going to come out and watch a Wyoming high school game. When I played, we didn't live stream. We didn't have anything like that. So the coaches, they had no idea who I was. So I did make a highlight film, and I was just sending out as many emails as I could to pretty much any college, just trying to see, kind of gauge where I was at the college level. I went on a couple campus visits, but yeah, just film, and then you're just emailing, and a lot of no responses. Like a lot of they'll just brush it off. They kind of see the competition. Like even if you have good highlight film, you kind of can see who I was like beating one-on-one, and it's kind of like it's not that impressive, in a sense. And so yeah, definitely it's tough. It's gotten a little easier, but still an uphill battle for Wyoming people, in my opinion. There's some extremely good players that get overlooked. Like, Hunter Saltzgaver, he's a Division I talent.
Yeah.
And some guy on a academy team that's not even as good as Hunter will have a better chance, like a much better chance of going straight D1 just because straight up of opportunity and just where they're at, just the exposure, I guess.
Right. It does really feel like that athletes in Wyoming have to create their own opportunity in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
And like you said, battle against this kind of bias around, you get an email from a kid from Wyoming, and I guess the sort of stereotypical scout or recruiter or coach that we're talking about might be quick to write that kid off because of where they're from or because of the perception around the level of competition.
For sure. Yeah. And it's not our fault. Like, it's not our fault that everybody's kind of playing against less competition. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfair because it's like, what can you do? But that's just the reality of it.
Right. And so for you, how did that then progress into concrete opportunities starting to come together toward the end of high school? You got a few responses, I imagine, and you ended up taking one of those opportunities and playing in college. Where did you go?
Yeah, it's just, I honestly just took kind of one of the best offers. I had quite a few offers of low level, like I had a lot of offers from NAIA, a lot of offers from D2, not amazing offers, like a couple very tempting, but honestly, I just wanted to go into college debt-free or get out of college debt-free, I guess. That was big. And so I went the junior college route. I got a extremely good scholarship to Kansas City Community College. So I went there and played. And then that was kind of that was kind of the like biggest stepping stone for me, because that was huge. That was a big decision, and I'm happy I went there, because there were some extremely good players. That's where I really, really developed my level of play.
Yeah, and it'd be cool to hear about, experiencing that jump in level of competition and play on the field, because like you said, in Wyoming, where soccer is a growing but still relatively kind of small and upstart sport, as a high school player, like yourself or someone like Hunter Saltzgaver today at Riverton High School, if you're putting in kind of time after hours and really pursuing the sport, you're going to stand out quite a bit on the field. You'll have a lot of opportunities. You can put up big numbers, relative to kind of the competition. But then now in a college level setting, you're playing against exclusively athletes who are dedicated to the sport and want to be there and want to get better. So that's a kind of totally different vibe, I imagine, from day one. Like the intention and the commitment shows up in just a higher level in every aspect of the game. So how was it making that jump? Was it kind of did it require a lot of you to jump up to compete against better players?
Yeah, it required a lot. Like when I first hopped into the college scene, I was very far behind. They've gotten better with like the rules, I guess. So when I went to junior college, it was kind of like JUCO. They didn't really care. And so when I went to there, I was playing with 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds, ex-pros, people
Whoa.
from Brazil, Portugal, like all these people that like literally played professional like 2 years ago. And now they're just trying to get a U.S. Education.
Right.
And so the level was way beyond where I was.
Wow.
And so it was a like culture shock for sure. And so I made really good friends with some Brazilians, almost all of them ex-pros. They played all over. And those guys, every day after training, I would just practice with them every day before training. We would just grind. Like I told them I wanted to get to their level, and we just put in insane work, and they really guided me, really showed me like what it took. And it was definitely a step up. When I first got there, I was behind for sure. And it kind of went to my advantage almost. Like I went in knowing I was going to be behind. Like it's so easy to be good at your high school. And you think you're a hot shot going into college, but then everybody's a hot shot, you know? And so I went into college like thinking I'm the worst player on the team. And so like thinking that, but then like with the work ethic to be the best, you know? And so that really helped me develop. The first year, I just told myself I'm just going to develop. I'm just going to work hard and just grow as much as I can.
Yeah, I wonder if that kind of feels like a parallel to what you were saying before about being a young kid with an older brother and
Right.
sort of trying to keep up with the speed and strength of those who are ahead of you. So during that kind of era in your first year or so in that program in Kansas City, did you feel a lot of tangible improvement? Did you, while putting in that work, start to notice like, wow, I'm really getting this. I'm picking up new skills and abilities that I just didn't have playing in high school.
Yeah, definitely. You do. So when you're at like the low level compared to those guys, you know, it's easy to grow fast. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much you don't know. And so I grew very rapidly just because my base was not very good, you know? And so I definitely grew, definitely got a lot better super quick. And then I just kept the same work ethic pretty much through my whole career. And I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. It's when you go into college as a Wyoming athlete specifically, there's pretty much two choices. You can either kind of just shy away from the competition, which sadly you see a lot of Wyoming athletes do that because they've never had that pressure. They've never had the competition, you know. Usually the best players on the team have been the best for 10 years, you know. They haven't had that culture shock. So you can either go in and shy away or you can go in and just work your tail off. And I mean, that's pretty much two options. I chose to work your tail off one.
Cool. Yeah, soccer is a unique game in this way that there are just so many levels to it. Like I think of
For sure.
every town's got a little pickup group or a league, and in every pickup group or league, there's one or two people who are clearly a few levels above everyone else, and they're the standouts.
Right.
But then you take them and put them in one level above, whether that's an organized league or a junior college, and they're suddenly, you know, the weakest players on the field, and there's a couple standouts, and then that sort of cycle just repeats over
going.
and over
Yeah.
for so many levels until you get to the highest level. And it's just remarkable how broad that spectrum is. Like you can be good at soccer and still be, you know, miles away from kind of the level of professional.
Definitely.
And it's just incredible to me, like what it really takes to be elite in this game, especially kind of when you zoom out and focus on that global perspective where the ceiling and the professional and the elite levels are just like sky high. And so as a young guy playing in college, I imagine that can feel quite intimidating to know like
Definitely.
where you stand in that whole hierarchy.
It's very, and that's why a lot of young players I see now, just super talented, better than I was coming out of high school, they just do not make it. And that's exactly why it's just so intimidating. it's super easy to get into your own head at any level. As every athlete knows, I mean, confidence is everything, and it's super easy to lose your confidence like immediately. And so, yeah, for sure, you learn very, very quickly that there are levels to it, and that's at every level. There's levels to it at every single step to going pro, and there's levels at pro and everything.
Yeah, before we started recording, you were joking about how, talking about your story while being recorded might make you more nervous than playing soccer.
Yeah.
And so I think about this when I watch the game also, like there's really nowhere to hide when you play soccer. It's a team sport for sure. But when you're on the ball or when you're involved in play, it's like you can't really get away with, all mistakes are very apparent. So weaknesses on the team are very apparent. So it's a high pressure game in that way. And
Yep.
You're performing and people can see it and your teammates can see it. And so I guess I wonder how you deal with that pressure when playing and how that's evolved for you kind of over the course of your career, and maybe specifically in this era we're talking about now where you're entering the college sphere.
Yeah. I mean, you do train. I mean, everyone trains their athletic skills, their footwork, their shooting. But a lot of people don't work on the mental side of things, which is, it's hard to like work on it, You kind of have to be in the situation in order to work on it. But definitely you have to have a short-term memory. I mean, I just got back from Detroit where I was playing pro, and then I made mistakes every game, It's just part of it. But as soon as I made the mistake, I forgot about it. Like it's part of it. It's literally part of the game. But it's super easy to say that, It's super easy to say, I'll just forget about it. But then when you're in the moment and then you make that mistake, it might be a costly one. It's extremely difficult to just move on. But that's also a level that separates elite players from good players and the mental side. Like you could be an absolute baller, but if you don't have the confidence or you get hung up on a mistake, you're pretty much done for.
Yeah, if the mistake is lingering, then you can't focus on the next play, and then that can snowball quickly. And
they teach that from a young age, go to the next one. But it's one of those things that's just so much easier to say than to do. Like it's extremely difficult. I mean, we've all hung up on mistakes. It's just part of it, but that's part of the game, a big part of the game that young athletes need to work on immediately. And it's hard to work on it because you kind of can't work on it until you make that mistake. And that's when you make the mistake, that's when you start training yourself. But it's hard because then you made a mistake, and if you haven't practiced, you see how it's kind of like a cycle almost.
Yeah, and it feels like that's where mentorship, like you're saying, is really important, because
definitely
for the athlete on their own to make a mistake and to know that it's okay to move on kind of requires someone with more experience to give them that permission. The athlete themselves might be like, well, I made a mistake. Do I suck now? Like they kind of need to turn to someone to tell them, no, you're okay. Like keep going.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. And that's where I did develop that at junior college, because I was playing with, full grown men, people my age right now. I was playing at JUCO, and they really helped me with that. They really were like, at the end of the day, that mistake really doesn't mean that much. So don't put so much emphasis on it, which that helps for sure to have the mentor, like you said.
So take me through sort of the full cycle of your college career. I think you said that you played for 5 seasons. Were you at the same in the same program throughout, or where'd you go from that first year in Kansas City?
So I had a very unusual college career, I guess you could say. I don't recommend taking the path I did. It was pretty tough, just mostly due to injuries. So I played my first year at Kansas City, and then my second year. In the middle of my second year, I got an ankle injury, and it just lingered, and I just kept playing through it because, if you sit out, you're not getting film for the next level. And so then after that, I had a very good offer to go play D1 at University of North Carolina, Greensboro. So I came home after my first semester of my second year and just rehabilitated my ankle the whole summer, all of spring. Went to UNCG, played a little while, and then re-injured that same exact ankle. And I was pretty like beat up. Like I was just like, even mentally, I was just like, man, I can't do it. Like I'm just always injured. And I'm not a big fan of school. A lot of people know that. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try to play pro. I'm just not going to go do it the college route, I guess you could say. And so I actually dropped out of UNCG. I got picked up by LA Force, which is actually a team I just played 2 weeks ago. And I went down there for the spring. And then 2 months into that, COVID hit. And shut down everything. Obviously, I was in California and all that. And so then I was like, well, maybe I'll try college again. Like I don't have anything else to do. I'll just get a degree for my parents because they wanted me to get one. So I sent out some emails, got an extremely good offer I just couldn't turn down at Eastern Illinois. And that's where I went and played my final 2 years and then opted out of my COVID year to play semi-pro.
And so as someone who got to experience various programs at the college level, how did you find the differences? Was it all sort of similar as far as like the level of competition, or did you experience like a broad kind of spectrum in that? And along the way, are you finding you're still progressing as an individual? Like, was it kind of up and down? I know you mentioned the period that you struggled with injury, but as a young person in their kind of late teens, early 20s, you're still evolving physically and all of these things. So kind of how is your own progression as an athlete and sort of your style of play and that sort of thing unfolding over that arc of multiple years through college?
Always growing, you're always just trying to get better. But yeah, it worked out good for me. Like I grew a ton at Kansas City, and then the coach I had at Eastern Illinois was just perfect for me right then. Like he was in a pretty similar situation with injuries and stuff, and he was a NC State legend. I mean, he holds the record for most goals at North Carolina. Just a baller. And I was playing striker then, and he really helped me. He kind of took me under his wing, and that really helped me develop. It's definitely a jump at every level. JUCO, I was fortunate to be on that team with all those ex-pros. They really got me ready for D1 because it was actually pretty similar level to what we were playing every single day in Kansas City. And then D1, I just kind of, same story, just worked, had a great mentor, just really developed my game just each year. You just get more comfortable, you get more mature is what your mind gets a lot more mature. The game really slows down, and that's when the development really starts happening, is once you kind of mature, slow the game down, and then just play it. Yeah,
so I'd like to move into your transition to playing professionally, and throughout this whole story so far, I'm really captivated by this cycle of challenges and obstacles. It feels like there are a lot of doors through which you could exit the game along the way. Like, this isn't quite working out. I'm injured. And yet, here you are, you're still involved in soccer. You just wrapped up a professional season. And so there's something really kind of keeping you engaged throughout a lot of opportunities to move on to other things. So maybe tell me a little bit about what drives you to do that through the story of, wrapping up college and then deciding to play professional.
Honestly, I think that kind of comes down to just my competitive nature. Like, I just love to compete. I just want to go compete every day. I live for it. Not even just soccer, but everything. And so I kind of just have never been ready to hang up the boots, hang up the competitiveness. Because, once you're done, you are done. It's just Aziz Waheed, the coach, my old coach, and then current coach for the women's team. He always just tells me, like, it's such a short window to play, which is so true. You think you can play forever when you're 21. Even now, it feels like I could play forever. I know that the window is super, super small. And so I just always thought, like, why not just take advantage of it? Like, why not just grind? Why not go out and compete and just try? You just never know. Because once you're done, it's done.
Yeah, it's true. And I guess if you love playing, why not just keep playing?
Yeah. And I mean, I do love the game. It's fun. I really enjoy it, even after all these years.
So you have just wrapped up your first season with a professional team on a professional contract, correct? Could you tell me how that came to be? I know it involved you coming home to Riverton for a time, getting involved in coaching here locally, and then kind of getting re-inspired to get back on track with your own game.
Yeah, I hopped around semi-pro teams for a couple years after college. A lot of just like everybody else doing that, just trying to get that one opportunity, just kind of trying to meet the right person at the right time to get you a spot, get you a contract. It never happened. I honestly wasn't even that close to getting a contract right out of college and after semi-pro. And so I was like, well, I can't just keep playing semi-pro forever. And so at that point, I wasn't ready to hang up the boots, but I was like, I should, just from a life standpoint, I guess. I was just kind of like, maybe I'll see what else is out there, see what else I could do with my life. And then, so I took a couple years off. And then Aziz, I actually didn't touch a soccer ball for quite some time. Like, I just did not even touch one. I didn't want to. It's kind of a tough ending to my career. And so I was kind of just like, man, I'm done with soccer. Like, it just hurts too bad to play. And then Aziz contacted me this last spring, asked if I wanted to be a volunteer coach for the girls team. I love that guy, so I'll help him out anytime I can. So I said yes, and then got into that, and it kind of I realized how much I missed the game. I realized how much fun it was to be in that game day environment, even as a coach on the sideline. You still get those butterflies. Honestly, more. Like, I was more nervous for our state games as a coach than I was any professional game I just played. And so I got that love back, and then I worked with Hunter Saltzgaver and Cammy Paskett all summer, getting Cammy ready for college, and then Hunter just for college as well, but just in a year. And I just had so much fun with them. I kind of started just, moving the ball more, and I was like, maybe I can just give it one more shot. And I did. And that's how it ended up. Just kind of super random, just really randomly got that spark back.
Wow, it's really cool that you got that spark back through sort of mentoring younger athletes. Once you had the inspiration again to keep playing, is it kind of similar to that experience you had toward the end of high school where you're marketing yourself to college programs? Like, how do you go about trying to get going again and pitch yourself as a possible asset to professional programs?
Yeah, it's a little similar. I mean, it really is just about opportunity, I guess. Like, that's the hard part. You can't just, if you just send in a highlight film, professional clubs don't care unless it is professional film. But that's like the hard part is getting professional film. So it's like a horrible loop to be in.
Yeah.
And so they did actually a tryout, like a trial for a group of people. And I sent in my resume to the coach, and I guess he was impressed enough to just invite me out. So they flew me out there, and then honestly, I was like, at this point, like, I don't really, like, either way, if I don't make the team, I'm just gonna go back to, like, I don't have anything to lose. I'll just go back to my normal life. So I went out there to Arkansas, actually played very well. I didn't know if I played good enough to make the roster, and then about a week later, they told me they'd love to sign me, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about it.
That's so cool. It must feel great to...
It's super random, like, it happens so quick.
Wow.
You grind your whole life, all of college, semi-pro, and then just randomly 2 years later, it's like, oh, you want to play pro? And I was like, yeah, sure. So it's very random.
Yeah, and during that trial period, it sounds like you could tell that you were playing well, but the hard part is judging whether that level is, worthy of the coach thinking you should get a contract. So how much of that intuition did you have where you kind of like, this is great, I'm performing well, like I'm in good form, I'm healthy here, I think I'm qualified at this level. Were you sure of that on some kind of interior level even before you got the call?
I wouldn't say I was sure of it.
Yeah.
I was hopeful. I was definitely like, I mean, there were some really good players, and you're already trying to outperform people already on the team, already have proven themselves. And so that's always the hard part. I wouldn't say I was 100% sure. I was pretty confident. I was like, I played as good as I could for how long it's been since I've been in the 11v11 environment. I was confident. I wasn't sure, but I was thinking like, I feel like I played good enough.
Yeah.
To just get the opportunity.
Right. You have to be confident. I guess that's the only way to play well in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then how'd the season go? You got the contract, you decided to go for it. Do you move out to Arkansas pretty much right away?
Yeah, so this year was a little different so I played in NISA, and they actually took the spring. Usually it's like a February to November type season. And then this year they switched ownership, and so they did not do a full season, and they moved it only to a fall. And there were friendlies that I actually missed for bow season, but there were friendlies, and then there was a NISA tournament in Detroit, which I just got back from, and then there's more friendlies right now going on, but they're unpaid, so I'm not attending them at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a weird season. And then, so next year in 2026, it'll resume to normal February to November type season.
I see.
So not a normal professional season when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find you were able to fit into a new team and new squad and different league and all that sort of thing? Like, was it yet another significant jump up playing in that kind of true professional tier?
Yeah, it was a jump for sure in skill. It was also a jump in the sense that I haven't played in so long. So even I was doing some stuff, I was like shocked at myself. Like, my footwork is not near as good as it was. I think what really helped me is I'm more mature, I guess, like soccer sense. And so you can playing with your head, compared to playing with your body. And so that really helped me. It was a jump. The first couple of weeks, again, just like junior college, I seriously went in and I was like, I know I'm going to be bad by my standard. I already know that. Like, don't get discouraged. Just grind it out, get back up to a high level, and then go from there. And that's kind of exactly what happened. The first couple of weeks, I was, they're kind of pinging the ball around me. I didn't let it get to my head, which was extremely difficult. It's hard to do when you're on a professional setting and you're kind of falling behind, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just didn't let it. I just kept sticking to the process, really, grinded it out, earned a starting spot, and I played every minute of every second of the tournament.
That's, this recurring theme of a mindset where there's a chance to decide that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, and yet you decide that that's not the case, and you'll just stay with the path.
Those thoughts come quick. If I could give any young player any advice, that every player at the highest level, like the self-doubt comes very quick. It's super, super easy. Every single player gets it. It's just your choice if you want to listen to it or not.
Yeah. And that mentality to not listen to it over time, as I listen to your full story, really feels like the reason why you've been able to continue to jump up the levels and find continued success.
Right, yeah, definitely. Mentality's a big part of it, of sports.
So are you playing in that sort of
time, but just work hard, that's what it comes down to. Develop that, like, just know, coming from Wyoming, you're probably going to be an underdog, like I have been my whole life. That's just the nature of it. Kind of just accept that, really. Just if you work hard and you grind and you do like everything you're supposed to and you keep the focus, it's 100% achievable. Like, it is very, very achievable. It's just super easy to get thrown off track. Super easy to get in your own head, to give up. If you want it, you got to really, really want it. And that's kind of what weeds out some extremely good players to the players that actually make it, is just how bad you want it. Like, if you're willing, you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices, always. And so it kind of comes down, it really just comes down to how much you want it. I I don't know if that really answered your question.
I think you did.
If you, anything else you want me to like elaborate on that?
I think that was great.
Because it's kind of basic.
I mean, but sometimes that's what it comes down to. You know, it's the simple things.
Yeah.
They're hard, but they're not. Don't require a lot of words to state. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And then last thing, you know, Riverton soccer. It's had some success in recent years. They definitely have aspirations that, to me, it feels like they haven't quite hit yet. Still building toward some things, and but there's a lot of talent. There's some momentum there. That's what I've experienced. You know, I've been attending a lot of the games, both in Lander and Riverton, over the past couple of years, calling a lot of them for the radio and getting a fairly close look at how those programs are developing. And so, I guess, yeah. I'd like to get your take on kind of the future of Riverton's soccer specifically. Does it feel like there's a bright future there? Does it feel like the program is continuing to kind of mature and develop? We've got folks like you mentioned that you've worked with, Cammie Paskett and Hunter Saltzgaver being the standouts in recent years. How have kind of those two now moving on from high school or soon to be like kind of set the stage for the next wave in your mind?
I think I can't really speak on Lander because I haven't seen anything from them, like just personally. But Riverton is definitely headed in the right direction. The soccer culture in Riverton is growing rapidly. I mean, you see it down at the U10 level. Like some of those guys are just crazy about soccer, and you just never saw that when I was growing up. You never saw it recent years, and so there's a lot of talent in Fremont County. Definitely moving up. I mean, our girls team, we're super deep in talent. We got an extremely good senior class this year, super loaded. I mean, the team should be honestly favored to win state. You know, you never want to put that pressure on them or anything, but just realistically, looking at the rest of the state, like I think there's a very good chance. And even freshmen moving up, and even people in the middle school and even younger. I think Riverton's really headed in the right direction. I think there's a lot of extremely good players coming, a lot of hardworking players coming, and I'm honestly really excited to see the future of Riverton soccer.
Cool. Yeah, me too. Well, thanks, Reed. I think that'll do it. Again, really appreciate you coming into the studio to chat. It's a really cool opportunity for me to sort of pick someone's brain about a few things I care about. One, just being kind of the game of soccer and the experience of going deep into that. You know, I've always sort of wondered, not that I ever really considered it or had the talent to do it, but as a lover of the game, I've always wondered a little more about like kind of what the player experience is like once you get out of that kind of, you know, adult guided world of childhood and high school. Once you're kind of on your own to steer your own ship, like what does that take? So it's been really a privilege for me to learn what your experience has been like on that level.